Hello everyone and welcome to Mindful Moment Crochet. Today we are going to be talking about shapes, in particular one of my personal favorites, the hexagon. This is a super cute shape to make. You can make as many of these as you want. I love them for coasters. They're just a little bit different than maybe a traditional circle or something like that. But they're also super easy to do. I like to make them out of cotton yarn if you're going to make something like a coaster. But if you can make hexagons out of any type of material, you can stitch them together to make a blanket or a quilt. You can even use them kind of as a motif to make a cardigan out of. They're just kind of a super versatile little shape, and I think it's fun to try something new. So let's get to it. Alright, I'm going to be using, it's called Friends Cotton 8-4. Which is their smallest cotton yarn from Hobie. And I am sizing up, so this is a G, and this one calls for either a D or an E. So I am just a little bit bigger than what it calls for on it, but I think it's still good to go. We're going to start by making a magic loop. This is probably the trickiest thing in crochet, I would say. There are lots of tutorials out there to try it, or to make a magic loop, but I will give you the way that I do it. I start with the working yarn in the palm of my hand. I'm going to hold it with my thumb and flip my hand over, and then I'm going to wrap around my two fingers, and then I'm going to wrap and make an X, and I'm going to hold that with my ring finger. I'm going to go underneath this first string, this first part of the X, to grab and pull up and twist. So there's just a little bit of a twist there. And then I'm going to grab that same yarn in the back, and I'm going to chain one. And that's your magic loop. Easy peasy. We'll go over it one more time. Remember, if you're learning something new here today, I hope you take a nice deep breath, relax, ease up on your hook. It'll be all right. We're just learning this all together. So again, the end or the tail of our yarn is going to go through the middle of our hand. We're going to flip over, and we're going to loop up and over to make an X. So we did this way first, we came back around, and now we place our yarn in the back. Now I'm going to go underneath this first one. I'm going to hook onto the second one. So it's hooking and pulling this one under. And now I'm going to twist as I pull up and push it just a little bit on my hook. And then I'm going to grab the same yarn in the back. So the working yarn is what I'm going to grab. And I'm going to pull through after I yarn over to chain for one, and then that is going to be the start of our magic loop. Now the next part is equally as important. You can make the magic loop, but if you don't use it correctly, I've never found that it works. So what we want to do now is make sure that when we are using our magic loop, we are going under both the loop and the tail of our yarn. If you don't go under both, I don't know how it's supposed to close. I've never been successful with that. So just make sure you go under both, and then it will close the way that it's supposed to. So we are going to be using double crochets for this pattern. And what we're going to do is 2 sets of double crochet all the way around. So we're going to need 6 sets of double crochet with a chain 2 in between for the first round. So I've already chained 1. I'm going to chain 2 more to count as my first double crochet, and I'm gonna yarn over and make my second double crochet, and then I'm gonna chain 2, and then I'm gonna do another set of 2 double crochets. So yarn over, go under and pull up that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then chain 2. and then yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Yarn over. Alright, so we are halfway done already. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to go again. Do another set of double crochets. So yarn over, stick it under, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Oops! And I made a goof. I did a set of 3, so we're just going to pull that last one right back out. If you were following me, I apologize. We're just going to try again. Alright. So chain 2. There we go. And now let's make that double crochet. There we go. And we'll chain 2 again. And we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hopefully you're at the same spot. If not, you might want to pause and give yourself a second to get caught up. And we're going to do another set of double crochet. If you are having a little bit of trouble following the double crochet, that is part of my how to crochet video. Just kind of skip to the end. It's the last thing that we go over. So if you need more support on that double crochet, feel free to check out my other video. Alright, so we're going to pause and we're going to count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sets of 2 double crochet. Now to use our magic loop, we are going to take the tail that is now underneath all of our stitches, and we're going to pull. Now I will highly suggest don't pull super tight or it will tighten down on your stitches and it will be harder to finish up what we're getting ready to do. So I'm going to put my work back on my hook, and now we need to connect our circle or our hexagon here. And we're going to chain 2, and then we'll go back and we will connect and slip stitch to join underneath our first chain 3 set. Beautiful. Alright, then we're going to chain 3 again for our first double crochet, and then we are actually going to go into each one of our stitches plus 1 on each side. So what this looks like is I'm going to go into the top of this one. So I have my one that is the 3 chains that I just did. I'm going to go into the top of my first double crochet from the row below. I'm going to go into the top of my second crochet, double crochet from the row below, or the round below. Oh, get on there. Oh, I think I split my yarn. Give me 1 second. What did I do? Doop, doop, doop. There we go. I'm going to finish my double crochet, and then I need 1 more, so I'm going to place it right here into this open space, and that's going to be my first side. Now we're going to chain 2, and where we have our second set of double crochets, we are going to put 1 in this empty or kind of open space. We're going to do 1 on top of this double crochet, we're going to do 1 on top of this double crochet, and we're going to do 1 on this end of those double crochets. So we're going to go into this kind of open gap that we have from the corner from our previous one. We're going to go into the regular double crochet stitch, and make our second double crochet, and then we're going to go into the top of our second double crochet from the round below, and then we are going to go into the corner from the round below. Ta-da! Alright, and then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do that same pattern again. So we're going to do 1 into the corner, 1 on top of each of our double crochet, and 1 into this corner. So we'll have 4 double crochets on each side of our hexagon. And because of this shape, if you're ever looking at like a hexa granny cardigan, this is also kind of the basic shape for that one too. You're just using a granny square stitch instead of a regular double crochet stitch. If you wanted to make a pentagon, you would do the same thing. You would just use 5 sets. If you wanted to make a 7-sided one, you would make a 7-sided one, with the same idea that however many you want to start with, you just want to do 2 sets, and you could really go up to however many suit your fancy. I will say, I believe if you're doing a triangle, you do need to chain an extra one in the corner. So if you get smaller than that, you might need to modify a little bit to get the pattern to look right. But I'll leave that one up to you. Now crochet, I'm a big fan of just kind of making it look right. And what I'm noticing is I'm going around, oops, I did forget to chain there. What I'm noticing as I'm going around is I don't particularly like the way that, because I probably sized up and it's not laying as correctly as I would like, there's kind of this big gap in between there. So I'm actually going to move this stitch slightly over, and I invite you to do the same if you're interested. So I'm just going to go into this first kind of partial loop that's connected to the stitch next to it. See if it'll hold it together a little bit better, make it more in line. Oh yeah, I think I like that better. So you can play. This is your work. This is your project. This is your experience. This is your yarn. You spend your money on it. So make it yours. This is your time. This is your hobby. This is your space. These are your rules. It's kind of like making your favorite recipe. You get to put a little dash of that, a little splash of something else. Make it your own. This is yours. And then same thing, to finish a side of your hexagon, we are just going to chain 2, and we will slip stitch back to the top of that chain 3 to join. Alright, now I am going to let you flourish on your own. So again, we're going to do the same thing round and round and round this same project. So we started with 2. We have 2 double crochets there. We went up to 4. Your next round will be 6. The round after that will be 8. So you're just going to go up by 2 by adding 1 single crochet in each corner on each side of the row below, or the round below. And that's all there is to it. It's a repeat after repeat after repeat after repeat. When you get done to close your round, just chain 2, and you can slip stitch to join at the top of that, and then of course always start your next round with that chain 3 for your first double crochet. And there you go. If you don't like the way that first round is looking, you can also do, you can make this one for that one, and then you would do 1, 2, 3, and a 4, right? So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and when you come back around, you can put your 6th right here, and it will help it lay a little bit better that way too, and be more cohesive for your design. So you can do it either way. You can start and just work this way, or you can count this one as your first one. It's really up to you. If you have any questions about the hexagon pattern, feel free to drop that in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer it if I can. The other thing is, when you get done, you may find that as you've worked your project, that middle hole where our magic loop was has opened up a little bit. So we just want to cinch it down by pulling on our tail again. There we go. And then when you're done, we will make sure to weave in this end in the correct direction. So when you're done with your hexagon, you're going to notice this one is pulling out of this kind of, it's pulling clockwise. There we go. So I'm going to snug it down as tight as I want it, or as tight as it'll go, whatever your preference is. And then I want to just kind of weave that tail in through those first stitches. And give it one more tug, make sure it's where I want it. And then I can go wherever I want to finish weaving in that tail. There we go. I also like to do this kind of mid-project because it just kind of bothers me that it keeps opening back up, but that's certainly up to you. But this way it'll at least keep that middle part a little more solid as you do your project. So yeah, that's kind of how you would finish it. When you get done with the end of your project, all I did here was create just single crochets around the top. But one more trick you can do is that when you get done, you can snip your yarn off and pull this loop all the way through. There we go. And do what's called an invisible join. So to do an invisible join, you will kind of find which way your project wants to lay. So, for example, if I pull it this way, it's not going to look right. It's going to kind of collapse that loop on itself, and that's not really what I want. If I pull it this way, it wants to open that loop back up and make it look a little bit more cohesive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, not in this one, I'm going to go back one more V. Here we go. And then I'm going to go back down through the loop that I finished on. And then I can weave my yarn in, and that should hopefully give me a little bit more of a cohesive edge so that it all looks the same instead of getting a little odd around the edge. But yeah, and that is how you make a hexagon. So just keep going up, add however many rows you want, and remember it's 2, 4, 6, and 8. Just stick those extra 2 double crochets in the corner, go across the top of every other one on your row, and you are good to go. These are cute for, like I said, you can make blankets out of them if you connect a whole bunch of them, kind of like you would do granny squares, or make lovely cup holders, or coasters. You can really do whatever you want to with them. I think they just make really cute things to have around the house for home goods. You can even make little face scrubbies out of these if you made them like this size, especially out of cotton yarn. This would be kind of a cute little face scrubby. So you don't just want circles for those. This would also be an option. So yeah, I will let you practice that. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.